Welcome to the best outdoors program just off the shores of the mighty Red River. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, the heart and soul of all things related to God's great outdoors. Starring Gary McCoy, an all-around outdoorsman with a CMA Award for Best Personality in Radio. A man who excels in the radio world and needs no introduction to the outdoors, whether standing tall in the winner's circle or sitting low in the deer stand. Mike Eccles, the boss, tournament trail director, and outstanding duck hunting guide with a wealth of outdoors knowledge who's not afraid to give his opinion with or without the facts. His years of bass tournament experience ensures that rules are followed and anglers are kept in check. And last but not least, Daiwa and Ranger Pro Steve Graff, a member of the Northwestern State University Hall of Fame with years of bass tournament experience who continues his pursuit of a double-digit bass and championship stringers. So let's jump on the front deck and make that first cast with the legendary minds of the great outdoors. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the one and only Steve Graff. Take it away, guys.
Hey, thanks a lot for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. Gary McCoy along with the Ranger Pro staffer Steve Graff, the old mud hen Mike Eccles. Little Jay's in there. You know he's got glasses now. He didn't have glasses last week.
He looks cool with them glasses.
I told him that.
You look cool.
I mean, you look distinguished.
Yeah, never got my eyes checked until my 5-year-old daughter, she got glasses. I said, maybe I should get my eyes checked. And I can see now. It's like going from a TV box to HDTV. Had no clue you guys were this ugly, though.
Oh, really?
That's what I was going to say.
Take them off.
See, that's my favorite part of this show. Because, we're also on TV.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of this show
y'all forget that when you're picking your nose.
Being in a crowd of 4 men and every week being the best-looking one in the room.
Well, the other one's not on a camera at all, so you're really competing
Hey,
against those
I
two
cannot
out there.
stand when somebody says distinguished. I hate that.
Why?
Well, when you start getting older and you start getting gray hair.
Then you're distinguished.
Then, women say, "Oh, well, you look distinguished."
Yeah.
Do you know what that really means?
Yeah.
That means that if on a Saturday night, that gal is at Superior Grill,
and you're the last man in the house.
3 Long Island iced teas, and you're the only one left in there, you still don't stand a chance. That's what she's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, this segment brought to you by Bayou Outdoor Supercenter, Steve Nichols and Specialty Traco, CCA of Louisiana, Despino and Jim South Tire. Of course, Mama's Day this Sunday, May the 14th. You already done your shopping?
Well, I don't have to anymore.
What are you talking about? She's still the mother of your children.
That my children take care of their mother. So
what? So, wait a minute.
Yes.
You do not buy your wife a
I get her a
Mother's Day
card and some other thing. I would probably get her something. I used to get her something, yes, but
You
nothing.
coward.
I cannot believe that.
Y'all can jump up, my, you
went from having a set of gonads to bowing down. No, I don't do anything.
Well, I do give her a card.
I get a card. I get a
do
flyer
get her a
card.
Do you buy
Nothing.
Charlotte anything?
No. I got 3 kids and 6 grandkids. Let her rip, Tater Chip.
No, we're 35 years into marriage.
So,
We're good.
Topwater, tell me now, do you buy the mother of your children a Mother's Day gift?
Yes, he has to. They're not
do
old enough
you?
to buy yet.
Well, let me just say this. Mother's Day is on Sunday, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't get paid till Monday. So Mother's Day is going to be celebrated on the 15th in the Watley household. I will.
She gets an IOU on Sunday.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be writing the personalized notes, like free back rub.
Yeah.
Change a diaper.
That's one of the great pleasures of kids getting older. They take over that responsibility.
No, she still birthed your children. You owe her.
Her children.
She should have said no.
Yeah.
She did. Now, question. Now, Father's Day next month.
Yeah.
Okay? With Father's Day coming, what would you rather your kids buy you a gift, or like when they were little, would you rather them make you a gift? What do you want when in that regard?
I wouldn't pick either way. I mean, those kind of things are really not that. To me, it's more about time spent.
Yeah.
Not money spent.
Yeah.
I really could care less.
Yeah.
Honestly, my wife's the same way. To be honest with you.
Now, I told y'all this story before. Every day after Father's Day, you go to work and there's that jerk that's got this T-shirt.
World's greatest dad.
World's greatest dad. I finally got one year, and it said, "Our dad," because we didn't have a choice.
I tell the kids all the time, the biggest decision you'll ever make in your life is when you choose your parents.
Yeah.
Everything from there is downhill. Hey, the BFL tournament was this past weekend.
Yes, it
Y'all
was.
were on Toledo.
We were on,
Well, how'd we do?
Tough Toledo.
How'd we
Let's
do?
rename that place.
How'd we do?
I finished 70th, middle of the pack. 168 was the total in it, and I
The
finished,
70th get a check?
No.
No.
I think 30.
We've been fishing balls.
What'd you weigh?
7 pounds, a little over 7, with 4.
So tell me, what did it take to win?
30 pounds.
Oh,
You were
smokes.
close. Yeah, you were knocking at the door.
Andrew Upshaw, who we will have on at the top of hour 2,
Yeah.
had 30-15 with
Wow.
five fish. Nobody's even close.
Yeah.
He must have got to your spot before you did.
He did, and it was a race, and he had a faster boat than I did.
See?
Thomas McMillan finished second with 23.6. Gary Caruso finished from Baton Rouge, finished third with 22.14. Daryl Gleason, who we had on the show, big time guy over at Toledo
Ooh,
Bend.
did you see his post? Daryl Gleason.
What?
That somebody sent his called his co-angler and impersonated a reporter wanting to know where they were fishing.
Really? Yeah, call Daryl. I ain't heard that one.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wound up being somebody from, I think it was Natchitoches, a bunch of thugs. No, no,
They live on Sibley.
no, it's somebody from a bass club, one of the bass clubs. They were trying to find out where they were fishing. And
Well, I'll be
impersonated a
dogged.
reporter. Yeah.
Oh, come on. He had 22.8 for fourth.
Wow.
Just looking down. Brett Hortman, my old team partner. Brett finished 7th. I'm going to tell you the story on Brett. He had 3 fish for 16.3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
First fish of the morning on third cast is a 10 plus.
Wow.
Yes. He's feeling pretty good. Gets the fish in the
reckon?
boat. He's feeling pretty good. Gets the fish in the boat. He's mainly just trying to get a limit because he's in 25th overall. He's just trying to make sure he makes the Red River Championship. I said,
Yeah.
just get your fish, dude, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Just don't zero today. Well, he decides to go to his limit hole first. 3 casts later, catches a 3-pounder. Mm-hmm. Sits on that hole till 12 o'clock with no more bites. Leaves it, goes to 3 other spots that he had for backup, and catches 1 fish on the last cast of the day.
Wow.
Another 3-pounder.
So he catches one on his first cast and
third cast,
and then one on his last cast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, for 16 pounds. He finished 7th overall, but it was a very tough event.
But if all he had to do was just catch a limit, when he caught that 10-pounder,
He was done.
Oh,
yeah.
He'd been sitting 20 plus.
I mean,
Did he get big bass?
He got big bass of the tournament. Billy Ewan from Shreveport finished 10th. Let's see here. I'm trying to look down the list of local guys.
Don Williams from Keithville.
Easton Dowden, Bo Dowden's son. Easton finished 15th with 13 pounds.
I heard he was going to be on The Bachelor next month.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. Who else locally? Locally, tough guys for the local. Tough event for the local guys. Jimmy Hickman, he finished 33rd with 11.2.
Jimmy's a good fisherman. He works for Centerpoint.
Craig Chapman finished 36th with 10.13. Cameron Madison finished 40th with 10.6. So a lot in that. Nick LeBroom was 10.2 at 42nd, 43rd. Again, and it's just tight all the way down, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9 pounds. It's just one fish separates you from
All
one
right,
spot to 20
most of the
spots.
fish south of the bridge?
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, I didn't.
They were.
Did you fish
when I
north or
tell you-
south?
When I tell you the lake was covered up,
Yeah.
there was a Louisiana. What was it, the Bass Club top 6?
ALBC.
The top 6.
Yeah,
I think that's what they call
ALBC.
it.
Association of Louisiana Basketball.
It was going on out of Cypress Bend, hundreds of boats.
Wow.
High school fishing was going on, hundreds of boats.
Wow.
A tournament out of Huxley had over 100 boats.
Wow.
Chevrolet tournament. Had a tournament going on out of Fin and Feather that was over 150 boats. I'm telling you, you could go nowhere without being on top of somebody.
You're kidding.
I've never
me.
seen the lake that crowded.
I can't imagine.
And we had 168. So
That'll rival Bob Seeley's, the Big Bass Splash.
oh, it was brutal. I'm telling you, you couldn't fish anywhere without being behind somebody.
Wow.
12-15 area was really covered up. A lot of people. There were some fish in the bushes. I lost a big fish in the bush. It's probably 6, maybe a little less.
You weren't throwing trap or hook.
That might have been right. But you know how it is. You guys know fishing the bushes. You're going to lose some. And I lost 3 that day that I could have had 15, 16-pound bag had I get them in the boat, but I didn't get them in the boat. So that's the way it goes.
I'll tell you a story.
They were on the same point. Me and you caught them off of.
Really?
But 7 other people went through there after I did.
Ricky Lee and Jeremy Botica for the last 3 or 4 years have been the hottest team we've had around here. For 2 years in a row, they Angler of the Year in Boss, H&W, anything they fished. And Ricky told me, he said, our deal is in 5 tournaments, we lost 1 fish.
Wow.
This year, they are still doing great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're leading, maybe leading Boss.
They were leading Boss.
Okay.
I don't know. I hadn't seen the latest results.
But every tournament they fished this year, they've lost at least 1 fish, at least 1.
Yeah.
That would have moved them from 5th place to 1st.
Oh, wow.
That's the difference. Here 2 weeks ago, I'm going to brag again. I win a tournament, I fish a tournament, I win it. You're going to get tired of hearing about it.
Okay.
Me and Mike Fisher.
You wait till I win another one.
We don't have that long. Me and Mike Fisher never lost a fish that day.
Yeah.
26 pounds, never lost a fish.
Yeah.
Claude's out there fishing right out in front. They lose the first 4 good fish they have on.
Oh,
they
wow.
wind up 3rd or 4th place.
Right.
I'm just trying to make a point while I talk about myself. That's the difference with the quality anglers around here. The guys that win are the ones that fish clean.
Yeah, that's exactly
Well, I'm going to tell you, you can, and I know
And you've got no control over it. You do everything
Yeah.
right, and Mother Nature is going to dictate whether you win or you come in 3rd.
Well, I know Graf can relate to this. Eccles, it's going to be tough for you, but it's a baseball analogy. When you see teams
Starting to break up.
when you see teams advance into the World Series, when they're in Omaha,
Yeah.
generally speaking, the team that's standing in the winner's circle at the end of the game probably played error-free ball. Isn't that right?
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah. Yeah. Ain't no doubt.
That's the trick. And you know what? Now, in most of those cases, that error was on you.
Yeah.
In fishing, the fish bites, you set the hook, he's coming to the boat, everything is exactly like it ought to be, and all of a sudden the fish is just gone.
Yeah. When we won the Texas High School State Championship, the last 4 games,
Yeah.
0 errors in
Yeah.
our none.
Yeah.
We played error-free ball.
Right.
And you're right. Here's how tough it was at Toledo Bend. When this man right here, zeros, Phil Marks, Strike King Pro.
Okay.
Zeke the Groucho?
Yeah. Y'all know who Phil Marks is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Oh, he's one of the big Strike King, biggest guys on that they have representing Strike Kings, Phil Marks.
Mm-hmm.
He does all the videos. He's on tour, does extremely well, won several Rayburn tournaments. And I'm not picking on Ron Festervan. Ron never zeros. He had a tough tournament. Aaron Johnson, AJ weighed 1 fish. So that's the kind of, and these are quality anglers.
Mm-hmm.
These are great. AJ, I put AJ with anybody. Mm-hmm. He's as good as there is, and they just wasn't biting good.
Well,
we went from 30-mile-an-hour winds on Thursday, Friday practice, to
Slick Lake
glass,
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was tough.
All right, let's shift lakes. Let's go from Toledo.
Well,
we got a little bit.
Until he does it.
Well, I can't. It won't pull up.
Okay.
I've been trying
Okay,
to
we had the
pull up.
Boss tournament this past Saturday, weighing at Red River South. Click right there.
I did. That's where I'm at. I'm on it right here.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Click. Oh.
Scroll down, scroll up, go right here, learn more.
No, that's the wrong one.
That's it. No, it's not.
Oh, the high school
You're
fishing.
right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
Here?
right.
One up.
Right there.
One up.
Right
One
there.
up.
That's it.
What?
Right there. Click that.
I
Please.
did.
Okay, we're trying to give
It takes
web
time to
instruction.
load. It's not loading.
I don't know
Okay.
why we're going to look
Okay,
up
we
the
had
Big
the,
Bass Splash.
we-
Okay,
lost
we had
connection.
the Boss tournament this Saturday, and it was a fish Red River or Cross Lake weigh-in at Red River South, and we had 94 teams fished. Good turnout for our last tournament. And hats off to Trey Duck and Benji Dumas. They had a little less than 21 pounds, did come off Cross Lake, and won $4,000. I forgot to bring the standings. So I'm sitting here muddling through it.
David Brown and Claude Eccles had the Big Bass,
They had Big Bass.
7.55.
Yeah, they had a 7-something and they won $500 from Gator Tail Boats for Big Bass, and an additional $500 because a couple of years ago I was stupid enough to come up with a promotion called Double Digit Double Down, and that's old pictures. And
Here you go, right here.
If your fish, if the big bass ended in the same digit, like 755, I'd give you an extra $500. Thinking that's a 1 out of 10 deal. It'll never happen. It's happened 4 times in the last 2 years. It will not be on the entry form next year. It's killing me. Alan Bass, Wayne Watson, 5 fish for $18.77. I think they went to Cross Lake, but I don't know. $2,000. Mandy Coleman and Toby Johnson, they had $18.69 for a grand. Terry Burkhart, Jeff Holder, $18.03 for $900. Tony DiGirolamo, John Valentine, they had $17.86. They won $800. David Brown, Claude Eccles, $17.40, $500 for big bass. They won $750 plus $1,000 for big bass. Pete Daniels, Gary McCoy, rah, rah, $16.05. They won $700. Cass Caldwell, Peyton Igo, good team, $15.83 for $650. Jess Walker and Rebecca White. Jess is Gene Walker from Redneck Reflection, taxidermist, fishing with his daughter. They had 15. They had a dead fish penalty, I think. $15.65. Won $600. Brandon and Kevin White, father and son team. They wound up with $15.40, $550. Seth Russell, Logan Shera, I think wound up the top 10. $15.01, $500. We paid 18 places out of the regular money, and then an additional 30 places bonus bucks from our sponsors. Wound up being really over 105%, probably close to 110% payback.
That's awesome.
Mandy is a girl.
Mandy's a guy.
No, Mandy's a guy. Been fishing for a long time. Good
Took
guy.
away my
Well, you know what? I'm glad
one-liner
you mentioned Gene Walker because we've got him on the phone, ready to go. He's going to talk to us next from Redneck Reflections Taxidermy.
Oh, we're out of time.
He is going to give us all the insight. If you caught a trophy bass and you want to have it mounted or maybe get a replica of that fish, he's got all the ins and outs of that. What do you need to do? You got this fish in the live well. What's the next step? That's next. Hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger.
Thanks for tuning us in today. This segment is presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, J&J Exterminating, Redneck Reflections, V&M Baits, and Paul's Farm and Garden. Get your garden ready for spring by stopping by Paul's Farm and Garden. Now, back to the guys who love fresh vegetables, Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff.
Hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with us, hooking up and tracking down. It's Gary McCoy, the old mud hen Mike Eccles, and the Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer Steve Graff here. Coming up a little bit later on the show, our buddy Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis. We're going fishing with Johnny Geis.
Yep.
We're headed out there this evening.
Yep. As soon as we get off work here,
And
this is work too.
So, and Johnny's ripping them. Ripping them right now. So if you have not planned your guide trip with Johnny Geis, I'm telling you, don't screw around.
If you want to know, go to lakeforkbigfish.com and check out the photos because he's loading them every day.
Proofs in the pictures,
yes,
baby.
No doubt.
Also on the show today, the FLW pro Andrew Upshaw, who just won the FLW BFL event on Toledo Bend. He's coming up. There was recently Craig Brown went on a grizzly bear hunt. He's going to visit with us about that. And Paul Davis, our buddy from Paul's Farm and Garden, is going to talk with us about food plots, summer stuff. What do you need to start doing to get ready for the upcoming deer season?
It's that time.
Of course, right now, our buddy Gene Walker from Redneck Reflections Taxidermy. And Gene explained to me the other day why his daughter he wouldn't let her catch a fish the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the tournament, in the boss tournament.
Gene's tough.
Oh, he's rough on her now. I'm telling
tough.
you, treat her, just like she's a full-fledged partner.
Is she a stepchild? Or?
No. Apparently, she didn't have both of her contacts in.
Oh, really?
She only had one contact in.
But she's not redheaded.
So she was casting to the wrong side of the tree.
Exactly. Isn't that how it went down, Gene?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Gene's over there just putting big fish in a boat one after the other, and God love her, she's over there. He made her cry. And then she didn't have her contact in.
You need some boat manners, Gene.
Yes.
Look, she's still mad at me.
I bet she gets over it by the championship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she told me that she was going to put it on me on the championship. That, that Caddo's her lake. So.
Uh-oh.
Well, listen,
we'll see.
I'm glad you mentioned Caddo because, of late, Caddo, Toledo, we'll even throw Merval into the mix. 3 of the premier big fish lakes in the country. Lake Fork, obviously, as well. And let's just say that, I've just caught the fish of a lifetime. I got a 10 or 11 pound fish that's in the live well. Is it better for me to consider having you do a replica, or is it better for me to just go ahead and bring you that fish? Which way am I going to be more happy as a customer?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. Personally, yeah, I have not ever had a skin mount fish on the wall. I would choose to do my very first fish a skin mount.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want that hatchery, that lake or whatever, to stay on top of the game with all those big fish, you want to take a length measurement and a girth measurement and put that fish back in that lake.
Yeah. Now, why do you need the length and the girth? Do they come in do those like if your fish is 10 pounds? Do they come in that many different models? The fiberglass replicas.
Oh yeah, they come in all different kinds of models.
Are they in half pound increments or what?
It varies. It jumps around, because what it is, they've taken the fish that they've brought in, and they've took cast of them, and that's where they're making the replicas off of. And and you got several different companies, that you can get them from, and all of them have got different sizes, and so sometimes I may have to take and say, okay, well, I got to go with a different company because he's got one that matches that fish. And
it depends on the way you want the fish positioned as well.
Right.
You might be able to get it in this size on a right turn, and you can't get it in that size on a left turn.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
And Gene, go ahead, Gene.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, my question was, what is it somebody should, look for in a good mount? What makes a good quality mount?
As far as in a
Appearance.
replica or a skin mount.
In a,
So
as
we'll,
far as
we'll just
appearance-
go with skin mount. We'll
Yeah.
go with skin mount.
Skin mount, man, the biggest part of it, is the color of the fish.
Yeah,
and
I
so,
would
so
think
that's
so.
if you. Yeah, I've seen a lot of fish out there that's painted.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think everybody knows what I say when I say it's painted.
Right.
When it's painted, it's painted. And the technique that I was taught is, we tone the fish. And it's not painting it, it's toning it to get all the natural colors and stuff out.
Mhm.
It always helps if you've got a picture of the fish.
Mhm.
If you don't have a picture of the fish, then I got to go with just a general representation, of, well, you told me the fish was green, or he was real white, because I'm telling you, the different colors of the fish are amazing.
Okay,
Which,
this fish is in the live well.
Right.
Just caught him.
right.
And I want to get a skin mount. Biggest
Mm-hmm.
fish I've ever caught. What do you tell me to do? I want to get the absolute best product that I can when you've finished. What do I need to do to make sure that I bring you something quality?
Whenever you take that fish out of the live well, you want to take and if he's still alive and stuff, it's best to put him in some ice and pack him in ice. And then when the fish expires, then you want to take a towel. The towel is the best because, it's real thick. And you'll lay that fish out, you'll wet that towel down as wet as you can get it. And then you wrap that towel around that fish, keeping all the fins flat to the body. The tail needs to stay straight. And when you wrap him up in that wet towel, and then you put him into a trash bag, and wrap it up tight, and then put it in the freezer.
Well, probably the first thing you want to do, Gene, is take a picture of it, right? So you can get the coloration right.
Yeah, you do. You want, most of the time, that's usually the first thing that happens anyway. As soon as it hits the boat, they're getting the picture, you know.
Right.
But now I've had a lot of people get excited and not take a picture, and then we don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Because once that fish goes into that live well,
Mhm.
within 10 or 15 minutes, his colors are completely changed.
Yep.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, it sometimes it can happen. Sometimes I think it happens almost instantly.
Wow.
It's amazing. I have an aquarium set up with bass and crappie and brim in it, and I use that, to study off of. And you'll be surprised, an overcast day, a sunny day, the different colors those fish can change. And I mean, they can do it just on a heartbeat, man. It's really awesome to watch them.
Well, the other day I caught a fish on Toledo Bend in practice, and I'm telling y'all, it looked like a peacock bass. It was that green, and it was that yellow green.
Mm-hmm.
I've never put one in the boat that looked like that. Within 5 minutes, I took some pictures. Within 5 minutes, he had started to change color. He was starting to fade out. And even my buddy who was with me said, "Man, that's amazing how they change color so quick." So that's interesting. You should bring that up.
Well, if this fish is properly taken care of, and you've got him in the ice, how often, as far as where you've caught the fish, maybe the hole wallered out or anything, is that something that you can fix as a taxidermist, or am I always going to have to look up there and see that big hole in his mouth?
Oh no, we can fix everything.
Okay.
Fins. I've had one guy said, he called and told me, he said, "Look, I threw the fish back because his tail was completely gone." Well, a lot of people don't understand, that 90% of the fish that we mount, we have to do repairs on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they go in the freezer, if they hadn't, because a whole lot of them, they just get thrown in the freezer, and then the fins get broke, especially the tail.
Mm-hmm.
As me being a bass fisherman, if I'm at certain places, or if I'm at the pond and I catch some nice fish and I want to eat some fish, the first thing I do is I'll take those fins off and I'll actually dry those fins, and I'll use real fins included with my flexible fin tape that I use.
Oh,
and
wow.
repair those, and it's amazing, because I can take some, because you got the fine lines and stuff,
Right.
on those fins, and you can actually put those back with another fin.
So you can replace one fish's fins with that of another.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, first off, Gene, congratulations on a good finish in the tournament to to you and excuse me, Rebecca. But I'm gonna lean towards the replica, and I said, you said the skin
Right.
mount. Let's decide what's best, really. Cost. What costs more to say I want a 10-pound replica, or I want you to skin mount this 10-pound bass?
The replicas are more expensive.
Okay. Which one holds up in appearance longer?
Well, the replica is going to for sure,
Okay.
but if the taxidermist goes into serious detail and he really takes care of his fish and his mount, that mount will last you a lifetime, just the same as a replica will.
Mm-hmm.
All of mine, I guarantee mine for life. If there's anything happens to them, then I repair them and put back. And the same thing with a replica too, because any somebody moves and they package it, and a fin gets broke off. The fins can get broke off on the replicas too, because those have to be glued on, and so it's about the same. But to me, the replicas are the best, and it's like with me. If it's my first fish, and then say I'm, a young boy, and then I want that skin mount.
Yeah, but it's usually a 5 or 6 pound bass at that point.
Yeah, but now, like where I'm at, I mean, even if I caught a 13-pounder tomorrow, I'm going to release it and do a replica.
Well, and that was the point I was trying to make, Gene.
Yep.
With your really big trophy fish, to me, I might take a picture of it. I'm not going to measure it. I'm not going to get length. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if it's
Right.
26 inches, 26 and a half. I don't care if the girth is half off.
Right.
Get that. Do not handle that fish that much. Just go to the
Exactly.
taxidermist and say, this fish weighed 10.2.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yep.
want.
Yeah.
You get me the replica. I don't care if it's exact.
That'd be me. That'd be me.
going to look at that mound
Right.
and go, God, it's just not quite what I remember.
Yeah.
You're never going to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, Gene,
And-
if somebody catches that fish this weekend and they need to get it to Redneck Reflections Taxidermy, what's the best way to do that, brother?
And just give me a phone call, 318-401-3583.
Okay, and do you have a Facebook page?
Yes, sure do.
It's Redneck
it's,
Reflections Taxidermy?
Yes, sir. Redneck Reflections Taxidermy. And we also have a web page. Look up redneckreflections.com.
Brother, thank you.
I'll have one for you this week, Gene.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
all right.
We're
Hey,
headed to Fork this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Graf's going to
good
bring you
deal.
the one that I catch. So make sure you just ask.
Can you mount anything too small? Is anything too small?
Well, look, the smaller fish are actually harder to mount, and so the smaller ones are more expensive.
Okay. All right.
I'm just joking with you,
That's all right. That's all right. I get picked on enough up here. That's
Hey,
all
thank
right.
you, Gene. Hey, I'll give you a holler next week, brother. You be good.
All right, y'all too. Thanks a lot.
All right, man.
Gene Welker from Redneck Reflections Taxidermy. And here in just a minute, I want you to pay attention to this now. Our United Rentals question of the day today: can an angler today become a superstar without winning tournaments? And is winning the most important part to becoming a star angler? That's next. Hooking up, tracking down, 11:30, The Tiger.
You're listening to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Nichols Department Stores, Louisiana Coastal Conservation Association, and Lake Fork Marina, the #1 marina resort on Lake Fork, now with a new and improved tackle store. Once again, here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
Hey, do you want to know what's on the minds of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down guys? You really don't. Okay? Because with Eccles, it's always X-rated.
That's a loaded question.
I mean, it's just a dirty picture. We'll check out our blog page at HUTDshow.com. If there's one thing we're not short on, it's opinions. You'll hear straight from the horse's mouth how we feel about certain issues pertaining to the outdoors. Whether you agree or disagree, at least you'll know where we stand on the issues at hand. So go to HUTDshow.com for our latest blog and so much more. HUTDshow.com, the best resource for outdoor news and information.
Just posted a new one today. Fresh. And we got a new recipe on there today, too.
You know what? I did read your blog that you've got on there today.
Right.
And you talked about, in your childhood, fishing farm ponds,
right.
tanks, and stuff like that. And then how cool that was. But most of it was by yourself.
Yeah.
And then how, as you graduated, into a different stage in your life, those memories that you made with family and friends and stuff like that in the boat. And you know what? Very seldom do I ever remember that occasion when I was fishing by myself as vividly as when you and I are fishing the boat show tournament last year, and those big fish are just jumping in the boat. I mean, and being able to walk up to the scales, you and I together walking up to the scales, and the TV cameras are on us and all that kind of stuff. That's that's those memories.
And we lost.
Not bad.
No, we lost.
The United Rentals question of the day today: can an angler today become a superstar without winning tournaments? And is winning the most important part to becoming a star angler?
How do we want to approach this? We want to go.
Well, do you want me to give you the right answer first, or do you just want to go ahead and
go ahead and give us your opinion?
You give us your opinion.
Something to argue with.
Okay. I'm going to tell you that at some point, in order to achieve a national name for yourself, you have to have won. You have to have won, whether it be on a local level or
on some level.
On some level, you have to have won. You have to have demonstrated the capacity to beat everybody else. And pretty generally, you've got to be a contender. You've got to be that guy that's in the hunt on a regular basis. Otherwise, you're not going to command that sponsor attention and things like that. But I'm going to tell you, being right again, that
or not,
there are those who on occasion could win, and for a brief period, just like a celebrity, you can have your moment.
15 minutes of fame.
15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you the prime example of that was Fish Fishburne. Fish Fishburne was one of, honestly, in my estimation, and I fished a number of tournaments against Fish Fishburne.
Oh, I did too.
One of the funniest human beings outside of Eccles that I've ever been around. Comical, witty, little strange, kind of like Eccles, but was always it seemed like the center of attention there. Sponsors love that. Fans love that. But it's short-lived if you can't back it up with the talent to be there. And I'm not saying that Fish Fishburne didn't back it up with the talent. He just wasn't standing in the winner's circle. In fact, I don't recall Fish ever winning a BASS event. So it was short-lived. Now, if y'all want to weigh in on how wrong you are, we're all ears.
Yeah, I almost have to agree with most of what you just said.
Almost.
See, look.
Yeah. But fishing the tournament is not what made Fish Fishburne who he is today. It's his TV show that made him famous.
How do you think he got the TV show?
It doesn't matter.
That's
what made him famous.
No, he was famous before that.
No. I'll give you another example. Gerald Swindle won tournaments in Alabama. You didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was, and Mike Uggles didn't know who he was. He is still yet to win on the Elite Series. He has never won a BASS event, period. Mm-hmm. And he may be the most popular angler on tour besides Kevin Van Dam.
I'm going to tell you right now that if he doesn't win in the next 3 or 4 years, you'll be sitting here and we'll be talking about, remember when Gerald Swindle was the Angler of the Year that year?
No, he's won it twice.
Without
winning a BASS event.
The point that I'm making is...
I've made my point. That is the point. He did not have to win to become famous. That's my point.
Is Fish Fishburne famous?
Because of the TV show. Yes.
You can't argue with an idiot. You just lower
just
yourself
telling
to
you.
that level.
That's
Well,
just the way it is.
y'all are arguing with yourselves. The question is, do you have to win?
Right.
What does it matter what you win? Did he win a tournament? No, he won Angler of the Year, which is in most people's mind is.
And there's a monetary value that goes with
way
that.
But that's not the question. What's
You
the
said-
question? Winning tournaments.
Okay.
Tournaments.
Do you not consider winning Angler of the Year just as prestigious as winning the tournament?
Of course it is. It's more prestigious than
Okay.
winning an
Then-
individual
then I
event.
think-
But he didn't have to win an individual
I
event
think
to
that
win
puts
that.
you in the winner's circle when you win Angler of the Year.
It makes you a champion.
So-
You're exactly right.
So,
But he
and-
did not
and-
win an event. That's
And
my
the
point.
example I told you we were going to give the same example, and we didn't because I thought you were going to give a local example. Homer Humphrey,
Yeah.
one of the longest running careers on BASS with almost no wins,
Yeah.
a couple,
Right.
in just opens.
Yeah.
So in the scale of winning,
But don't you consider opens the
Homer wasn't a big winner,
Yeah.
but he maintained a career off of his personality.
You bet.
And his ability to sell
Sell.
himself.
Sure.
I've never
I
met
agree.
anybody that could sell themselves the way Homer Humphrey could.
right? That's
So
right.
you can't just, this question cannot be answered just yes or no.
Right.
There
why I
are,
thought-
there are people
formulated.
like Gerald Swindle who is not going to be a threat to win the Classic, but is
You
the
don't
second most recognized angler of the, because of his personality.
Yeah.
He's up there because of his ability,
Yeah.
fishing ability,
He's a
but
great
it's his
fisherman.
personality that made up for his 10th place finish instead of first.
Right. My point is,
I want to give you a complete opposite example of what we're talking about here. I wish I knew how many BASS anglers who have won tournaments that were not famous.
oh, well, we all know one.
Now I'm going to tell you that there's more involved with the drama of the tournament. Nowadays, especially with us being able to watch BASS live,
Right.
that drama is built into the event.
Yeah.
What's the most dramatic event that ever happened in BASS in your estimation?
Most dramatic.
And I'm going to tell you that this man won BASS events, lost this event. Jim Bitter.
Bitter's dropping the fish out of the boat.
Jim
yeah.
Bitter losing that fish, that 12-inch fish that would have won him the Classic, made him famous for a short period.
Right.
He had won BASS events before that,
And it's still what he's known for. Yeah, you're right.
but he's not a superstar.
No, that's right. He's not a superstar.
He's not. I'm going to tell you, your personality is that one craft you better hone in order to maintain superstar
Well,
status.
Perfect example, Ron Sheffield, 10, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
one of the best anglers out there, could not get and keep sponsors on a high level. You want to know why? No personality, and he had a big mustache. Every picture looked like a mugshot.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay, and I agree.
know
I
this,
totally agree
I know
with you.
this for a fact that they
Yeah.
tried to get Ron Sheffield to shave his mustache
Yeah.
because he looked like he was fixing to come off the screen and kick your butt.
Okay. But both of y'all are going back. I said today.
Okay,
That's
but-
a big difference. And I know
Okay,
both
okay.
y'all are right. You're right on that respect.
Then
But
the
today,
answer,
can an
the
angler
answer
do that
you,
today?
The answer, you got to have the total package.
Right.
If you are an incredible angler,
Right.
you can be pretty good with your personality
Yeah.
and your sponsorship skills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're a less incredible angler,
You
we're
better
talking
be
about fishing,
Yeah.
you can take
You better have personality.
You can take the personality, can make up for it. So
Yeah.
you've got to have both. One outweighs the other
Exactly.
if you know
Either
how to
way.
market everything.
But I'm
Either
going
way.
to tell you that Gerald Swindle is unique to himself.
Absolutely.
Gerald Swindle would be a superstar if he was a basket weaver.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't, because you got to have that. How many incredible country and western singers are out there right now because they never got the break?
I'm talking about Gerald Swindle online with his YouTube videos and the number of things he does. It wouldn't matter. Have you ever heard of Chad Prather?
Sure.
Chad Prather is a YouTube sensation.
Yeah.
I don't know that Chad Prather can sing. I don't know if he can fish. I don't know if he's ever held a gun, but I know his name because he is a YouTube sensation. Gerald Swindle would be a YouTube sensation regardless of fishing.
Yes, but can you make $1 million?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But let's make this simple.
But
I would
be a
take
superstar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would take
so?
I would take Gerald Swindle's career right now over Aaron Martin's.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because when Gerald Swindle quits fishing, he's going to move into Davy Heights, a position like Davy Heights, and be a success.
He is a
when
sponsor's
Aaron
dream.
Martin quits fishing, they're going to put him like Kalijah in an old store standing there, not saying anything.
To answer the question, Mike said earlier, there is a right answer. It is yes. You can become a superstar without winning tournaments because you've made the same point. Social media today can make you a superstar. You just already said it.
No, I did not say that. The question, and I want to repeat this.
We're getting into Johnny Geis's time.
Okay, but I want to repeat
are we?
this.
We gotta have Johnny.
It says is winning the most important part to becoming a star angler.
Yeah.
Big difference. I said
And
he could
the
become a
answer's no.
superstar,
Right.
not a star angler.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Johnny Geis.
So I have two
Look at
answers.
him tracking
I'm
down.
not
Yes
going to make
and
you
no.
mad.
11:30 the Tiger.
Hello, everybody. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page at Hookin' Up and Trackin' Down Show for outdoors news and some great video tips. This segment is presented by Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis, Toledo Town and Tackle, United Rentals, and Sandtone Lures, keeping anglers in the winner's circle with the best jigs and spinnerbaits available today. Now, there's a place these guys don't see very often, the winner's circle. Here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
We are hooking up and tracking down where the 8-pounders are always schooling.
Yeah.
Gary McCoy along with the Ranger Pro staffer Steve Graff, Mike Eccles, and old Topwater's in there. And our Lake Fork report with the hooking up and tracking down guide of the year for the last 3 years running. He is Johnny Geis. And, Johnny, we can't get there fast enough, brother.
Well, I'm waiting for you. I'm sitting under the shade in the dock, just biding my time. We're going to catch them.
Well, tell me now, when it comes to this time of the year, are the fish on Fork in as much of a transition as it seems like on all the other lakes around here?
They are. They've been that way all spring, really. They've had 2 or 3 different, spawns come up and go away. And now we're got a little shad spawn doing again. So we got shallow water bite early in the morning. So it's a time of year you just got to wake up and every morning and say, all right, what's changed?
Okay, my biggest question, then I'm going to get out of the way and let these two pry your brain a little bit. How long does a shad spawn last?
Well, probably 2 or 3 weeks, but it just moves up and down the lake, different areas of the lake. And the birds usually tell you where it's going on each morning. You just kind of get out and run some points. And where you caught them yesterday, you pull in the next day, the day before, they've shed popping everywhere, not jumping out of the bank. You go in there the next day, and there won't be evidence of any bait. So you never know. And as far as the duration, it's just like the spawn. It spreads out probably 3 or 4 different weeks.
I was going to say, because I'm telling you, I've been to Grand Lake, which is northern, it is northern Oklahoma, so I would expect it to be just kind of getting kicked off when we were up there for the Costa. But I went to Toledo Bend this past weekend, Johnny, and there were guys talking about shad spawn early in the morning, throwing blades and spinner baits and top water. And I evidently I wasn't in that area because I don't know if that was well north or well south, but it seems like the shad spawn's been going on for 2 months now.
It has in different parts of the lake, and I don't know if they come back and spawn over in that same area. They've been right here in the marina one morning, and they do that again. But yesterday,
Johnny, are you going under the boat dock right now?
I'm into the dock right now.
Yeah, because your phone's cutting out. I'm just wondering if the boat dock is affecting your interference there.
It might be. I'm gonna walk out from under it. We keep talking, but yesterday they were just everywhere. The shad were, and fish were schooling around them, striking, and we caught 3 5-pounders on a swim jig. So it was a fun morning.
Well, Johnny, we're headed over there as soon as we can unplug ourselves here, and you told us come prepared to fish shallow. To fish shallow this time of year, is that because you've got a rise in the lake, or because of a late spawn, or the shad spawn, or all of the above?
It's all above. We had some high water come in, and we've got all the willows flooded right now, so that bite's going pretty good. There's some, in some lily pads too, but every day I check them out deep, and have been catching about 1 every day mixed in with all the white bass. It just started biting good since the weekend, so it's been fun the last few days.
What's status quo on the grass in Lake Fork this year? I know that last year, the coontail looked really good, until late in the year. Any hydrilla at all?
I haven't run into any. There might be a little bit in some of the Glade Creek area right there, but not any matted type stuff, nothing that's growing, a good duration of it down the bank. It's just gutter.
What was that grass that you told us, you were telling me and Graf, it looks just like hydrilla, but it's not as thick?
Yeah, it's very similar to it, but it's not crunchy like hydrilla. I heard a guy call it char, and I don't know if that's
so it's not coontail.
No, remember that it was either char or chopper or something like that.
Yeah, char is what they called it, but you'll see some of that, and there's some darker moss, but it's not coontail either. But we still got a little alligator weed, we call that mats up around the bank and toes, and there's been some fish in that. So,
hey, Johnny, being a depth finder guru, a structure fisherman, and electronics and stuff, offshore structure that you are, is hydrilla, is that a good thing for you, or would you just as soon not have the grass beds to pull the fish away from the drops, the humps, the old levees and stuff?
I'm an opportunistic fisherman, man. I'd rather have hydrilla than be fishing shallow.
Okay.
I just end up out deep because that's where I can catch them and where they kind of gang up a little better. But man, hydrilla that's a magic form as any lake that I've ever fished.
Johnny, is the brim starting to bed up over there already?
I haven't found a brim bed yet. Hadn't smelled a brim bed yet. You can do that, and they ought to be some doing it. But I just bought the first 100 crickets a while ago and plan to catch a few brim to keep in the trap for this afternoon just in case.
What's the what's overall? What would you on a regular elementary school grade card? What would you give bass fishing right now on Fork?
It's probably a B and getting better. We're into the season now. The next week it'll kick off from now, and better than any month of the year. So we're all excited about it. One of my buddies this customer caught a 12-2 last week and a foot of water on the net. So that was last Tuesday. So, just a little over a week ago. And I haven't seen any nesting fish left, but 2 or 3 I caught yesterday up in the willows. I mean, they were spot bellies. If they wasn't still had some eggs in them, they were sure gorged up on shad.
I remember last year, Graf and I were with you, and we pulled into a little point there, and there was an older gentleman and another guy in the boat with him, and the shad were spawning so thick. You threw your cast net out, caught several of those shad right there, and literally for the next 30, 45 minutes, we just ripped fish on those shad because that's obviously what the bass were keying on. Is that something you still try to provide for your customers, or you always, got your antenna up for that opportunity?
I haven't done it since that one particular time. I've just the opportunity to do it right there. But I've fished the salties a little bit, in the spring, and now it's time I'll be using bluegills too. But heck, if they're going to bite the yellow magic, topwater, or Czar spook or something, which we're going to go early in the morning, guys, and we'll have some topwater bites, some white fluke bites, and pitch with some heavy jigs in the willows. And
Johnny, have you ever gone with the crawfish, the live crawfish? Can you get live crawfish in your area? Hello?
I think he's walking around. He fell off the pier.
He's in the water.
Well, we'll just take a break. We are hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger.
Welcome back to another hour of first-class outdoors radio entertainment. This segment is presented by Ranger Boats, Sam Rayburn Marina Resort, Commercial Power Equipment, and the Bob Seeley Big Bass Splash Series. Go to SeeleyOutdoors.com to learn more or to register for the next Seeley Big Bass Tournament. Here's Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the Dink Master himself, Steve Graff.
Hey, and thanks again to Johnny Geis, Lake Fork guy Johnny Geis, for hanging out with us. If you want to book a trip with Johnny Geis, real easy. He's got a great Facebook page. Just go to Johnny Geis Fishing Guide or his website, lakeforkbigfish.com. Or if you want to call him, that's generally the best way to do, because you can leave him a voicemail or whatever, but you can leave him a comment on Facebook as well. But if you want to call him,
give him a call at 972-800-3882. That's 972-800-3882.
okie dokie. He stroked them over the weekend. FLW pro Andrew Upshaw, winner of the FLW BFL event on Toledo Bend.
Now we got to make sure Andrew understands that when you come on this program,
you give coordinates.
Coordinates are required in order to qualify for this program.
Just text those, if you will, Andrew. Just text those coordinates to Gary McCoy
or Steve Graff.
And no, you don't want to do that. You stroked them, brother. Is there anything that you felt like that you knew that nobody else knew?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. I really, I always enjoy coming on your show and getting to talk a little bit of fishing. Honestly, I came in with no practicing through the event and just fishing. I mean, I had been on the lake.
Andrew, you're breaking up bad.
Yeah.
I haven't been on the lake in about a year, and decided would just fish it. You know, it was one of those deals where I was just like, I was confident in what I'd known in the past, and I pulled up to my first spot and didn't really catch much, and by my second, third, and fourth spot, I had everything that I weighed in.
Wow. What did you discover that put you in, because you had almost a 31-pound sack.
Yeah.
What did you discover as you were just fishing that said, hey, this is it. This is a winning pattern?
I started out cranking, and normally this time of year, especially when we post-spawn, I catch them cranking really well. And fish have been a little bit further along than usual this time of year. And so, more pressure offshore. You mix that in with extreme calm conditions. There was almost no wind on Saturday. And it really makes for a tough bite out offshore. So when I have those kind of conditions, I always go to a straight tail type worm. In this case, I was throwing the new Gene LaRue 8-inch tail. It's a Magnum style worm. It's about the same width of a Magnum trick worm. And I was throwing on a Gene LaRue half-ounce hard head. And when it gets real tough, you don't want to bounce your bait off the bottom. You don't want to shake it a lot. Normally, that's when you want to dead stick it. And that's what I'd do is I'd pull it up to them stones, and, little hard spots on the bottom and anywhere between 20 and 24 foot of water, and I just let it sit there.
I want to interject real quick right there. When you just let it sit there, how long? Because if it's 5 seconds or 50 seconds, that's the longest wait of your life. How long does Andrew Upshaw just let it sit there?
Anywhere between 10 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes, in some cases.
Wow.
And the thing is I'm targeting real specific little areas, I'm not fishing down a ledge. I'm fishing one stump or one hard spot the size of the front of a boat or, a lay down that I happen to know that's there. And once I feel that piece of structure down there, I'll drag the bait until I hit it. And once I hit it, I just let it sit. And just let it sit and let it sit and let it sit. And then all of a sudden, most of the bites that I had, you'd have your line tight and you'd just be holding it, moving it whatsoever, and your line would just go slack and won't happen. You'd be swimming straight to you.
Wow.
And you never feel a bite. Just knew that bass was sitting right next to that stump or that log, and decided finally to go over there and eat it.
Now, Andrew, you said you didn't really practice for this event. Of course, your experience on this lake, being a Toledo BM, and you grew up in Hemp Hill. I know your background. Fished against you for quite a few years now. Sam Rayburn, you're the same kind of angler as Sam Rayburn. My point is, or my question really is, scouting. Is scouting overrated, or was this a tournament because you knew so much you didn't necessarily need to scout? But is scouting overrated in terms of tournament fishing?
I think in certain situations it can be. I think you can. The thing I've always said is you can over scout.
That's my problem, guys. That is my problem.
No, that's just one of them. But go ahead.
I really enjoy and that's on the tour we get 3 days of practice. And now if I go to a lake and I fish more than 3 days of practice, I feel like I'm overfishing. I'm overlooking areas. I'm getting too fine tuned in practice when I could be doing that in the tournament. Because a lot of times when you figure things out in the tournament, you run with them that day, and that's when you usually catch them the best. And a lot of times, when I'm practicing anyway, I'm just kind of grasping around, kind of getting an idea of what's going on. I rarely make casts. I kind of look and just kind of get a feel for the conditions and stuff. And then when it comes to tournaments, I just kind of make game time decisions to do what I'm going to do. And a lot of times, especially like a lake that you have a lot of experience on, I don't feel like you really need to practice that much, because how many times, Steve, have you gone out there on Rayburn, for instance, and that first day practice you roll through your 3 favorite places and you catch 20 pounds of bass, and you're like, man, why did I even practice this stuff?
Yep.
That's the same thing. I mean, you go out, if you just go out with no practice and just say, I'm just going to go fishing today, you hit your first 3 or 4 places that you really have confidence in, and you're probably going to catch them. And if you don't, other places you can go to catch them. So, I do think practice is somewhat overrated. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always helped to know where, if the grass is growing in this section of the lake or what the water temperatures are. If the fish are spawning, obviously you want to know where some are on bed.
But you hit on a key point there when you said you drive around and graph a lot more than make a lot of casts. And that's what I don't do. I make a lot of casts. And I'm trying to fish an area thoroughly to see if there is something there. Maybe that's where I'm making my mistake. I need to maybe look at more areas of the lake than what I do.
Yeah, and that's something I do a lot. I just graph around and kind of look at places I've never looked at before. Because I went out today and I've looked at places I've never even been to before on this lake. I mean, this lake is enormous, and you can fish here your whole life and not look at every spot on this lake. So, there's a lot of opportunity there to find new areas and spend time in practice looking at new areas. But if there's fish on them spots, there's no reason to go practice on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew, Steve was telling us a little earlier in the show that it was an absolute zoo on Toledo Bend this past Saturday with a number of boats and tournaments that were going on. How much does that play in your favor when you're fishing just an isolated piece of cover here and there? You're not trying to fish a grass line, or you're not trying to fish out a ridge. You're going to this one spot. Does that work for you or against you?
Well, in some cases it works against you, but I've always said that if you really know the spot on the spot, you know exactly where those fish are sitting, or where you feel like those fish are sitting. It doesn't matter how many boats are around, as long as they're not in your cast or sitting right on top of your spot. It's a funny thing. In one of the places I caught a couple big ones, there was 3 boats that started on that spot, and I was within eyesight of them for the first 2 hours of the day, and nobody caught a fish off of them. I watched them, and I waited until every single boat left, and I pulled over there and caught 2 big ones in my first 2 casts.
Wow.
Well, they were fishing the spot. You were fishing the spot on the spot.
Right.
Absolutely. I knew the exact lineup, the exact stumps that they would be sitting by. I didn't have to waste any time, fishing around the whole thing. I knew where they'd be sitting.
Go ahead.
And that's just a big deal. I mean, and back up what Steve said, that I've lived on Toledo forever. I've never seen Toledo as busy as it was this Saturday. I mean, it felt like we were in a McDonald's terminal on Rayburn.
It did. I agree.
I mean, it didn't matter where you went. I mean, there was a boat on every point, on every ridge, on everything there's places I ended up just starting to make as long idles as I could out in the middle of nothing where I just happened to have one little ridge that I felt like I could get a bite on, just not away from everything.
We had Michael Iconelli on, probably 6 months ago, and he said one time, and I'll never forget this. He says the best prepared does not necessarily mean that you're going to win the tournament. What he meant was you don't have to pre-fish for 118 days to fish that one tournament. You've got to be able to go out there and be adaptable and be able to fish the moment. Now, when you're in a situation like that, obviously you've got some preconceived notions. You know, you feel like the fish ought to be here or they ought to be there, and you know the spot on the spot. You know the setup. When you start to see those things not panning out, as a good angler, that's when you have to make the adjustment. If you don't and you continue to fish that pattern, in all likelihood, you're not going to be sitting in the winner's circle, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that it's all about decision-making on the water, and the faster you can make that decision, the more successful you're going to be. However, the thing that a lot of anglers make mistakes of is they abandon something too soon. So it's kind of a fine line between to a pattern and focusing on it the amount of time it needs to, and then overdoing it on certain other patterns. And I feel like we all kind of fall, into that trap every once in a while because, a rattlesnake might be on at Rayburn, and we stay on it for 3 hours and it's not happening. Well, that that fourth, fifth, and 6th hours when they bite,
Right.
And so, there's certain things you've got to understand that are you need to do all day, regardless if you're getting bit first thing or not.
Andrew,
so that's a big deal when you're looking at those type of fisheries and patterns and stuff.
Andrew is a guy that, I followed your career ever since you were at Stephen F. Austin and fished against you for several years. And, you now being on the FLW tour and fishing that highest level of fishing, is there any certain thing that now that you've been on that level for 2 or 3 years now that you said, I didn't realize this? Is there something out there that something you've noticed or discovered as an angler that it wasn't the way you thought it was?
Well, I mean, first off, you have success at a local level or a regional level, like Coastas, Opens, that kind of thing. That's one thing. I really felt like when I went out there, I would just catch the fire out of them, and I wouldn't have any problems. And it's one thing for you to go catch the fire out of them, but the thing is, on the tour, everybody catches the fire out of them.
Yeah.
And, places that you would usually feel like you have to yourself because they're so far off the beaten path, there's probably 3 people that know about it on the tour.
Right.
And so there's not a whole lot of secrets, and there's a lot of places where you can get, you've got to really be dialed into what you're doing to catch them. And, out there, originally I was like, man, I want a lot of top 10s and this and that. And, I mean, now, like, if I get a 30th place finish, I'm pretty excited because that's an accomplishment on the FLW tour. You get 3 or 4 of those in a top 10 or a top 20, you've done something. Guys
Amen.
like Brian Thrift is the exception because they're Brian Thrift or they're, Aaron Martins or Tim Van Dam. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, these guys are the best out there, and I feel just blessed to be able to go out there and fish against them every day because I'm telling you, they're top-notch guys and they're top-notch fishermen. I mean, you look at taking the best local off of every lake, and that's who you're fishing against.
Well, Mike Eccles is always, and I'll toot Mike's horn, and I fully agree with him. If you can't win on the local level, you can't expect to go out there and win on the national level.
Absolutely not. I agree completely. I've always said that. If you and the other thing that I've always said is if you can't go to the coast of the Opens and consistently get, top 10s, top 20s, you're going to have a rough time.
Yeah.
Because these guys, I mean, Beaver Lake is a great, the last Beaver Lake tournament that we had up in Arkansas, before the evening before the tournament, the water came up 4 feet. By the first day of the tournament, the water came up additional 4 feet. By the second day of the tournament, the water came up an additional 2.5 feet. By the end of the tournament, by the 4th day of the tournament, we were around that 12 to 14 foot high mark from the first day of practice to the last day of the event.
Wow. 12-foot rise.
You're fishing. Now, just imagine that. You're fishing over the top of your house at that
exactly.
point. In the depth change.
Yeah.
From where you started.
Yep.
Figure those fish out.
Yeah, exactly.
And stay on them.
Wow.
Well, Andrew, congratulations, brother. Way to go.
Man.
And continued success on that. FLW Pro Andrew Upshaw just won the FLW BFL event on Toledo Bend. And what's next for you?
I'm heading to Mississippi River at La Crosse, Wisconsin, and really looking forward to that. It sets up really well. It'll be a shallow water grass fishery, so it'll be a lot of fun and a lot of fish catching.
Little cheesehead fish up there, huh?
Oh, yeah, a lot of cheesehead fish. And, you don't really know which ones you're going to catch. You want those Viking fish, but I don't know.
And Andrew, those GPS coordinates for Toledo, sgraph26@yahoo.com.
I got you. I'll just tell them to you right now. It's 26247372. Oh, wait, I don't know.
Wait,
I think I missed
it was close.
That sounds like a female's proportions.
Yeah, something like that. It started with a 3.
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't know. It's one of those numbers. And
right.
that number.
What's one number?
Hey, congratulations, brother. Job well done.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Andrew.
FLW Pro Andrew Upshaw. And next, we're going to talk to Craig Brown. Did he get the grizzly? Mike, did he get the grizzly bear?
Tune in and find out.
There you go.
Hooking up, tracking down, 11:30, the Tiger.
Folks, tell your friends that if they miss today's show, they can catch us again Saturday morning from 6 till 8. And make sure to download Radio Pup to your iPhone, iPad, or other listening device. This segment presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Red River Waterway Commission, Seagar Fishing Line, and United Rentals, providing heavy or light-duty equipment and tools for any and all size contractors. Once again, here's Gary, Steve, and Mike. Take it away, guys.
I want to hear more of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show? Tune in Saturday mornings from 6 till 8, where you'll hear interviews from the greatest anglers in the world as they share tips and tactics with the wittiest and smartest guys in radio. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff. Tune in from 6 to 8 Saturday mornings right here on 1130 The Tiger, the home of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show.
You know what? All my life, I have wanted to kill a bear. I wanted to kill a bear with my bow, I thought. And then I got to, I even went to California one time and hunted. And then I got to looking at watching TV shows and seeing how they baited bears in.
Yeah.
And treed bears with dogs.
Yeah.
and I made
It
up.
lost its sex appeal.
It did because there was just no
Sport.
Well, actually, no danger to it.
Oh.
You know, I mean, shoot a bear off a limb.
Yeah.
But so hunting the black bear may not be what it used to be.
Right.
And I understand that for TV show purposes, but there is still some adventure and some danger out there if you want to go bear hunting. Like Craig Brown from Heartland 1010 just got back from the Yukon and had an incredible hunt. You with us, Craig?
Yeah, Mike, I'm with you. And actually, I was on Kodiak Island, Alaska, not
Okay.
quite in the Yukon.
Okay. Now, this is a hunt that your dad, Tommy Brown and John Black, have been on numerous times, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's actually kind of kicked their butt a time or two. It can be real physical and real tough.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do first. I want you to describe not the actual hunting, the trip. You booked it. You flew out of here to where? Took you how many days to get there? To start hunted X amount of days.
You rode a horse. You walked 14 miles uphill both directions.
Not the hunting and the killing. Just the overall compass of the trip.
Did he train for the hunt?
Oh, yeah. First of all, yeah, definitely had to start training a little bit. But for the flight plan, started out in Houston, had a connecting flight through Denver, and then through Denver took me to Anchorage. Did all that in one day, spent the night in Anchorage, and then flew from Anchorage to Kodiak. Ended up spending the night in Kodiak City on Kodiak Island, and then that next day took a amphibious float plane to our base camp. Probably about a 35-minute amphibious plane ride. Then we landed in a small bay right at our base camp. So
what are the accommodations?
Travel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to ask you, what are the accommodations when you arrive at the base camp?
The base camp, it's pretty remote and pretty primitive. There's no cell phone reception, but it was 4 tents with permanent wood bottoms, one being a main cook tent, and the other 3 tents being a 2-man each sleeper tent. Not your average pop-up tent.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But,
did you spend the night in the base camp every night, or did you go out and have to sleep satellite tent someplace?
Yeah, we did spike camping the last 6 nights, and that's where it was just a couple of us went out, pitched a small tent, slept on a small, about 1-inch thick Thermarest blow-up air mattress. Not really a blow-up air mattress because it's pretty small. And slept in a sleeping bag, had to pack 5-6 days worth of food with us. A lot of the freeze-dried mountain house.
How cold are you?
It was cold. It was actually a little substantially colder than it normally is for their springtime hunts. When we first got there, Alaska Game and Fish had just done their first aerial survey, and they logged 1 out of 18 radio-collared sows were out of the den.
Wow.
It was a snow cover still, probably 500-foot plus elevation and up. Till about midweek the first week, and then by the second week I was there for a total of 15 days hunt. And by the end of the second week, it was probably just the last 500 feet of the tips of very mountains on the Pacific side of the island had thawed.
So this global warming's not really anything that cracked up today.
Yeah, it was actually, they said, their coldest and kind of longest winter they'd had in 4 or 5 years up there.
So are you worn out at this point? I mean, you've been there for 15 days. Are you just dragging or what?
Yeah, kind of was. There's no doubt about it. When I finally got back to Kodiak City after the hunt, I was just kind of dead. The last day, I got my bear on pretty much the last hour of the last day, and it was about a 10-mile round trip from where we were spike camping to where we were glassing on a hill, and then saw the bear was another mile. And then, but by the time we had rounded it back, it was just around on GPS, just around 10.2 miles.
Did you ever ask yourself, Craig, what the heck am I doing? Was it enjoyable, or were you miserable?
Oh no, it was definitely enjoyable. There's definitely times where it get a little miserable. One day it was probably 35 degrees, but the wind was blowing anywhere from 30 to 50 miles an hour,
Wow.
and it was drizzling and nasty the whole time. You couldn't shake a chill off that day, no matter how much clothes you had on.
Okay, so there you are. You're on foot when you spot when you start making your stalk on this animal.
No.
No?
That's 15 days into the hunt. Let's don't skip the 14 days. My God, y'all went right to the end of the book and read the last page.
Well, we got it. We're on time constraints.
I know we got 6 more minutes. We've got 5 more minutes. You hunted 50. I mean, for TV purposes, I hear this all the time. We got it done the last minute of the last hour of the last day.
Yeah.
Bull crap. You did that for TV.
Yeah.
You hunted 15 days, and the days were 5-6 hours a day, Craig?
Oh, no, they were 14 to 16-hour days.
Are you seeing bears?
The first week we would see maybe 1 to 2 bears a day, but once we had about 3 days where the sun came out, kind of partly cloudy, warmed up to the mid-40s, and really towards the end of the second week started seeing a whole lot more bears. We finally started, actually what happened, we started seeing a lot of eagles. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of bald eagles flying the Pacific coast, all going in the same direction. So we got up in Spike Camp one morning and said, we need to follow what's going on. Well, it turns out ended up being a dead beached whale, and there was 25 to 30 bears in the area. And twice the guides had to load their gun because we had a sow coming in, and we all had to stand up, huddle up together, and kind of run them off of our area. And we were sitting about a mile and a quarter away from the whale.
Wow.
And there was that many bears coming to feed off that whale.
Absolutely, yeah. It was
It's buffet.
kind of a little hairy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Did you ever have a close encounter? Because I know you said there was a lot of sows and cubs.
Now, not too bad of a close encounter. On our walk back, we didn't get back to Spike Camp till about 3 in the morning because after we cleaned the bear, we had to pack it back. And the hide itself alone, without the skull in it, skull was in another pack, the hide itself be anywhere from about 130 to 150 pounds. And so that goes in one of the guides' pack. They completely empty their pack out, and I took a bunch more of their gear, and then they would alternate who would carry it, and they just go, depending on how much elevation change in a little stretch, a couple 100 yards, sit and take a break, switch who had that pack, and just kept trucking it because those guys, a couple of them were natives, and they did not want to spend the night on the ground in a survival blanket.
Where was the four-wheeler, Craig? We all out of gas?
Yeah, really.
Where's the rhino?
Side by side's got to be over here somewhere.
I wish there was one.
Okay, so Craig, I guess the biggest question for me is obviously you're seeing a bear here and there in those 14 days prior to this. Are they just not what you're looking for, or are you just not able to successfully get up on them?
Well, a couple of different scenarios. Sometimes, and especially being in the spring and the snow had just melted, nothing's greened out. So you get up on some of these glassing hills and you can see for miles and miles. But sometimes you can't exactly tell if it's a shooter bear, and sometimes you just got to get up and go and get close enough to where you can make a better judgment call. And I mean, these guys, the guides themselves have, extremely nice spotting scopes and can see from a long distance, but sometimes you just can't tell.
So you get up there, he's not exactly what I was looking for, and I'm sure that you had a lot of those kind of occasions. Now, the bear that you ultimately took, the minute you see this bear, do you know that's him? That's the one.
Yeah, they pretty much, as soon as he popped out and his mannerisms around that whale, you could tell he was a big dominant boar because he wasn't caring what was going on around him. The other bears that would eat on that whale during the day, they'd eat for a minute and run back to a little knoll a couple 100 feet up off the ground, and they'd search looking for another bear because you could just tell they couldn't hold their territory if a bigger bear came along.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, he came out and he sat down and just started pigging out, and he didn't have a care in the world.
So you, all this time of looking for spotting a mile away, mile and a half, and all these. So when it all came down to it, you shot this bear from 700, 800, 900 yards.
Oh no, shot him from 63 yards away.
Wow! So you're in his kitchen.
Yeah, pretty much.
And shot him with what?
340 Weatherby Magnum.
Which is comparable to, because I don't know what that is. That's bigger than the 270?
Yeah, a little bit bigger than 270.
No, seriously, I mean, what is it? It's a
little smaller than the 35.
Yeah, it's close to that 338. A lot of the guides up there use a 375, but it's got a little more knockdown power, but it doesn't quite have the ballistics that the 340 has. It shoots
what's your range on that one?
I practice out to about 200 yards, but they like to try and get you closer, because a lot can happen with these bears at 200 yards.
Craig, what was the most enjoyable part of was it the hunt itself? Was it the scenery? Was it the entire trip just getting there?
Freeze-dried bacon?
Yeah, what?
Kind of a combination between the scenery and the hunt. I mean, it just the island of Kodiak, I'd heard it's kind of majestic and has a majestic quality, and it truly does. And once you see these bears in their element and see what they can do, it's just the most impressive thing ever.
Huh.
Okay, Craig Brown, one last question for you. This animal's on the ground. How much work are we talking? The minute that moment is over.
Yeah.
How much work are we talking?
A good bit. It was we shot photos real quick. He was below the low tide line, and he only ended up going down about 30 yards away from the whale. So we had to kind of boogie and scoot, clean it up as fast as we can, and because dark was coming.
And you're watching over your back for the other bears.
Yeah, that was my duty. I was told, hold this arm while we do this, and every minute or two, go back up and look and make sure there's no other bears coming.
So you get him packed out, and I'm assuming this is the pinnacle of your hunting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it didn't have that adrenaline going so high, I probably couldn't have made it back to camp that night.
You wouldn't have a cold one when you get back to the camp, would you?
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Brother, congratulations.
Yeah,
that
man.
sounds like an awesome adventure.
That does.
That's something that most hunters just dream of. And the grizzly obviously is the biggest, baddest boy in the woods when he's there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a lifetime experience I'll never forget.
Craig, thank you, brother. We appreciate your time.
Man. Great story.
Oh, no problem. Thank you all very much.
You
Thank
bet.
you, Greg.
That's something that every hunter ought to get to experience.
Yeah.
That and taking an elk.
Yeah.
I just think that would be.
Now, to me, what Mike described earlier, we're off there, I guess, when he described that. But unlike Mike, what he saw on TV wasn't really. This was a bear hunt.
This was a bear
This
hunt.
is a hunt.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing this.
Yeah. We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Right or wrong, I'll always love you.
That's right, you're listening to the Hookin' Up and Trackin' Down Show. This segment is presented by Natchitoches Ford, Cowboys Wild Game Washer, and Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend. A great place to come and relax while taking in the beauty of Toledo Bend. Now, back to the guys who love the Bend, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Here's your Seagar Fishing Line's best time to fish. As the fishing gets a little tough this weekend, it is rated as gets a little tough this weekend. It's rated excellent on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it was
and
really excellent the day before.
Wow,
Yeah,
man.
it went down from
Should have been
really
here yesterday.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's going to be good on Sunday. There's a 0% chance of rain this weekend with the highs in the upper 70s, lows in the 50s. The moon phase will be increasing from 70% on Friday to 80% on Sunday. Best time to fish, mid-afternoon. That figures I'll be fishing a tournament. Friday, 1:10 to 4:10 p.m. Sunrise will be at 6:17, sunset 8 o'clock. Saturday, be out there chunking and winding from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Sunrise at 6:16, sunset at 8:01. Sunday, best time to fish at 2:45 to 5:45 p.m. Sunrise will be 6:15, sunset 8:01. This has been your Cigar Fishing Line's best time to fish.
Paul Davis, Paul's Farm and Garden, on the phone with us. Hey, Paul, with Mother's Day being this Sunday, would Mama want maybe some clover seed for her Mother's Day present?
You said she won't, or
would she? Would she be upset if she got clover seed or something like that?
It's a little late for the clover. There is a type of clover called a leaf clover that grow in the summertime, but it's not real proficient.
And Mama's probably not going to be that happy.
She do have fresh tomatoes.
Well, Mama probably not going to get you anything, Gary, because Mama knows how you are. Hey, Gary, I got a question.
Fire away.
I was talking to some firemen earlier.
Sorry.
I got a question about Eccles there. When he's working the show, does he have like a little flip chart that kind of keeps him up to date with what part of the show you're in or anything?
No. We have to constantly remind him. In fact, Eccles doesn't read real well, so we have to put everything in hieroglyphics. We have to draw pictures.
Oh, I thought it was in crayon on a big chief pad.
The only time I
goes up with the flip chart, I understand that he got some freaky stuff in that thing.
The only time I ever really excel is when I'm going through these pages and the fold out goes out.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm in my game. Then
Paul, we're gonna give you a discount for cutting on Eccles. I'm gonna have to cut you a rate.
Okay, Paul Davis, Paul's Farm and Garden. Probably, I would say, North Louisiana's number one destination if you're a whitetail hunter. Obviously, he takes care of all your cattle, your horses, and things like that. But the most important thing to us is what we're doing for our wildlife and
our garden.
You bet, yeah. One of the things that I want to know, Paul, and I don't know, you might say that there's no way. I had a friend of mine tell me one time that if he had nothing but honeysuckle that he could plant and take good care of it, that would be the most important thing that he felt like he could plant for wildlife, because he says whitetail are not a grazer, they are a browser, and so therefore you want to plant browses instead. Is there anybody? Is that anything that Paul Davis could you get honeysuckle to plant?
No, not that I know of. I mean, you could arguably fertilize what's out there.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. We always talk at this time every year, and I think I allude to it, that we don't sell as near as much feed in the spring and summertime as we do in the fall, because there's so much out there naturally already.
Mm-hmm.
And if we've had a year where we've had some rains or something, they're grazing their natural habitats, you might say, or the natural grazing areas, and they're not out searching, or they may not find what you plant. Now, and one of the other reasons we've had trouble selling this stuff this time of year is most common things people would plant would be soybeans or peas, cow peas, iron clay peas, purple peas, something of that nature. But the knock on has always been they come in and graze at one time and they're done.
Right.
Well, this year we've got a high forward soybean, a Tyrone soybean that they can graze it and it'll come back, make a leaf again, then come graze it again, and on its own, just like eating the grass. Back on.
Well, a couple of years ago, I bought from you a Tecumate summertime mix.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing in the world because it had a little bit at every different level. And I don't know if you can recall what that was that I got from you, but there were sunflowers in it, and then there were like pole beans that grew up on the sunflower. And you talk about forage per acre. It was unbelievable, and deer were able to just move in and feed religiously. Do you remember what that was?
That was some floor sweepings we had here. We put in an old Tecumate bag.
Okay.
Believe.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. But I'll do that again and sell it to you. No, I don't remember what it was. We do sell some Tecumate Lap and some Lap Plus, and they have a Peas Plus they had, and they've changed it from year to year, and it's been different things. I want to say that might have been some kind of game bird mix. I don't really remember.
Paul, another thing too, when on years where you have good rains, like this year, let's face it, we've had some pretty good rains, consistent rain. So the browse is probably out there, like you said, the natural food for the deer to eat. Is this a good time is this when you want to maybe put out protein blocks instead of?
Oh, this is the time to put protein out. Absolutely, this is time to feed them. We sell the protein pellets year round, but we get more people this time of the year because this is the time that affects what kind of antler growth and really their body condition later on.
Absolutely. 99% of us plant just to attract a deer to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When what we should be concerned about is planting as much in the spring when what we do benefits the herd.
You bet.
And
the overall health.
We're worried about fishing or something, turkey hunting.
And off subject a little bit, I find this to be an issue. Everybody's putting out corn and whatever they can get for them all season long, and then about mid-January or so, you're not hunting anymore. You quit putting stuff out, and they don't have anything to eat from mid-January till stuff starts greening up, So there's a little area there that people miss an opportunity to feed some, I believe.
We were talking promotion of antler growth a minute ago, and one of the things that a lot of people miss out on is how important this time of the year is to get the mineral blocks and things like that out. If a mineral block are they better based on price? Is the most expensive the best one?
A lot of times I find it's that way on a lot of things, but you have to, I believe, always check things out to look for that bargain, But what you're seeing a difference in price, I think, is that there's such a thing as a trace mineral block. And what that is a trace mineral salt block. If you read the guaranteed analysis on it, it's about 98% salt. It is, in essence, a salt block. But it's got trace amounts of minerals in it. And I'm trying to go through some of them.
Well, Paul, that's what.
But they need those. They need those minerals in trace amounts. They don't need large amounts of those minerals. But then you can find some blocks or some bag mineral, that will be high amounts of calcium, high amounts of magnesium and phosphorus and stuff, the minerals that they need in larger amounts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at a trace mineral block and seeing it at $5 to $7 for a 50-pound block, and then you're comparing it to a 25-pound regular or just a plain mineral block or a bag of mineral that's, anywhere from $10 to $25 or possibly even more, you're not comparing apples to apples.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul, wouldn't it be a good idea as well to do a soil test to see exactly what minerals you're missing that your deer might help the herd?
I don't know of a soil test. I imagine the Department of Agriculture could do something a little more inclusive. Most of the soil tests, when you see a soil test kit, or if you were just to run a little bag down a soil down to the county agent's office or something,
right,
send it off. They're going to do something on nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. But that's more, they're doing a test to see how suitable the soil is to growing some type of forage and what pH is and so on and so forth. But I'm sure, that's a good question. I've never really thought about that, I guess, too much, but I would bet that they've got the ability in the lab to test and see how much all the other stuff is there. And I can tell you also, and this is kind of off on the cows and such, but it's very similar in the mineral contents that one requires versus the other. But anyway, cows, for instance, we have to sell a mineral that has a low phosphorus content to it, because phosphorus in its granular form is kind of bitter tasting, so they don't want to eat something with a high amount of phosphorus. And I'm told that part of the country we live in, the soil already has a high phosphorus content, so you don't need to supplement it as much. So that helps us sell cow mineral, and I would assume it'd be the same on deer.
Last year, you introduced us to that brand new feeder.
Mm-hmm.
One and done.
One and done. Was that the most amazing thing that you've seen for whitetail hunters in the last 10 years?
I think it's the best feeder I've ever laid my eyes on. And I don't know how else to put it. And you have to see it to really appreciate it, but it's hands down the best feeder I think a person could buy.
And right now, it would be a great time to have that thing loaded up with protein.
Yes, sir.
And if you've got a combination of both a bag of minerals that you mix up into the hole in the ground, you mix the dirt in it, you put it in there, and you've got some trace mineral blocks, because really they don't need as much salt as what a lot of those are providing, but they do need the trace amounts of different minerals. If you've got a great supply of calcium and phosphorus, those kinds of things, and you've got those other trace minerals out there, your deer herd is truly going to show that work. It might not be this year, but in the coming years, you'll be able to see that growth, won't you?
Yes, sir. And also having the mineral out, like the bag mineral, or Tecomate makes some. We sell the Purina and different things. Your does are going to breed back faster. What you don't need is a doe that for some reason doesn't breed back this year. And then she skips a year, or maybe she breeds back, and for some reason, because her mineral content that she's getting is not the way it should be, she slips that fall, and it aborts it at 2 or 3 months or something, and then, well, that's hurting you down the road.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
And traditionally speaking, they're throwing twins in most cases when situation is optimum. And they've thrown those early in the year. One of the saddest things is when you start seeing those years when they don't start throwing those twins until late in the year, and all of a sudden it's Thanksgiving, and you're still seeing spotted fawns. It's going to be real hard for those deer to make it through the winter.
Absolutely right. And if they do make it, they're pulling on the doe so bad, they're pulling her down to where maybe she doesn't breed back, or her body score goes way down, and she may not make it. Because she's going to make milk before she makes anything else, and the rest of her body function will slow down, or everything in her body will go to the reproduction, or to the milk.
You bet.
To making milk, and she'll lose a lot of weight, and she could get support that she can't survive.
Paul Davis, Paul's Farm and Garden, dude, you are. I mean, without
wealth
a
of knowledge.
I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt. Every time we talk to you, I learn more about it. I just wish you weren't always so busy at the store. I'd love to just pick your brain some more at the store.
No, we need to do a whole show with him
I'm
in
just
here.
BS to making this stuff up.
Hey,
That's Eccles. That's why Eccles loves you so much. Y'all do the same thing.
We talk hunting and fishing all the time, but I'm going to tell you, I drive up to Paul's to buy my dog food. One of the best places to buy a wide selection, and he carries a Purina Pro Plan, which is what Jeff Matthews feeds all his dogs in the kennel. So you just don't have to hunt, fish, or have a cow to go to Paul's.
You don't
Farm
have to
Garden.
buy that if you don't love your dog.
That's right.
If you love your dog, you need to get them the best.
And you might need some tomato plants.
There you go.
Dogs don't eat tomatoes, you goofer.
I do.
Paul, thank you, brother.
Right.
Pray for
See
me.
you guys later. Thank you.
All right, Paul.
Paul Davis, Paul's Farm and Garden, North Shreveport. If you don't know where it is, welcome to town. We know that this has got to be your first week.
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoy your stay here. We're going to wrap things up in a few.
Then we're going fishing.
Amen. Hooking up, tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Well, this is it, the final segment. Don't forget to check out our new website at HUTDshow.com, an information highway for all things related to the great outdoors. This segment is presented by Nichols Department Stores, Natchitoches Power Sports, Gamakatsu Hooks, Spro Lures, and Despino and Jim South Tires. The Arklatek's #1 tire dealer with 6 locations to serve you. One more time, here's Gary McCoy, Steve Graff, and the Mud Hen himself, Mike Eccles.
The CCA Louisiana Star Statewide Tournament and Anglers Rodeo is in its 23rd year of competition. Each year the tournament begins on Saturday Memorial Day weekend and lasts until Labor Day. Star is CCA's Louisiana largest membership drive and boasts over 13,000 participants each year. During the competition, anglers compete for over $500,000 in prizes. Register now as the tournament starts May 27th. Go to ccastar.com to learn more and to register for the greatest fishing tournament in the Gulf Coast region. Coastal Conservation Association of Louisiana, making a difference in the future of our waterways.
Mike Eccles, we got a tournament, a benefit tournament Saturday?
Yeah, we hit on it briefly a while ago. Stuart Toney, one of the anglers, was putting this tournament on for Jason Pickett, one of the local anglers. Wife passed away from liver cancer, and he's got 3 kids. This is to help with expenses, medical bills, and stuff. Going to be a great event this Saturday, held out of Earl G. Williams on Caddo Lake. It will be Saturday. Stuart will be there, I think, starting at 4 o'clock at Earl G. Williams at the park to take registration. They've already started, but if you want to enter now, the best thing to do is be up there by 4 o'clock Saturday morning. Entry fee is $70 a team. $10 extra for big bass, optional if you want to get in there. The 5 fish limit. Start fishing at 6 o'clock, quit at 3, but you have to be back at the park in the weigh-in line by 3:30. They're paying back, I think, 100% of the money for big bass. They're paying 3 places in money, $750 for first, $350 for second, and then I think $250, something like that. But then from 4th place down, there's going to be a lot of great prizes. Keep in mind, This is a fundraiser. This is a fundraiser. This is not for you, the angler. This is your chance to do something for somebody else. But they're also going to have a trailer up there cooking hamburgers and fries and stuff, and I think that's part of the deal. If you enter the tournament, you get to eat free. So if you're just looking for something to fish, or your heart will allow you to step out and spend Saturday doing something for somebody else,
you bet.
Be up there by 4:30 and get registered Saturday morning at Earl G. Williams Park.
Mike, what kind of shape is Caddo in with the Salvinia situation? You've been out there.
It's not as bad. Nothing like Bistineau.
Okay.
Or Black Lake.
Yeah, Black Lake. Ooh,
Jimmy Duck told me the other day that Bistineau was probably only down a couple of feet right now.
Yeah, I think we still got water coming in. It should be like, I think, God, what is it, 3 inches a day, 4 inches a day?
Something like that.
So when it should have dropped a foot, it hadn't dropped but about a half a foot. But rumor, this strictly rumor, I heard they were fixing to draw Black Lake down to the channel and then pump more water out.
Yeah, they can go down 4 feet.
For 2 years.
Wow.
Really?
Just leave it down?
That's the rumor that I heard the other. I have not been able to back that up with any facts, but who cares?
Well, let's go back to Caddo Lake for a minute because we got the Boss Championship June 3rd and 4th.
Okay, a lot of grass. The pads are just starting to come up. The Salvinia, of course, it moves from day to day, but what's happening now is your emergent grass growing from the bottom up is getting high enough now that it's catching and holding the Salvinia. So the Salvinia is not drifting as much.
Right.
Okay.
So, we're once again, we're losing fishable water.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my question for you, both of you. Let's take Salvinia out of the equation. Okay, it's not a player. We're talking strictly about size, creel, limits, slot, the whole 9 yards. We're talking about Caddo Lake. If they left either one of the two of you guys in charge, and we want to make Caddo a destination, we want to make it where, anglers can come there by the droves, catch great numbers of good fish, and have the occasion where they're going to catch a monster. Would you leave it status quo, or would you make changes to it? Mike, you go first.
I don't think you can accomplish that. You cannot have the thing that has made Caddo Lake what it is, so many big fish, is the fact that the massive amounts of vegetation, even before the hydrilla was there. I mean, the Salvinia was there.
Mm-hmm.
Massive amount of vegetation, which makes for unfishable water.
Mm-hmm.
Not totally unfishable, but unfishable for probably 95% of the anglers that want to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's too difficult. But it gives your big fish a sanctuary to get away from the cypress trees, not get picked off, and to live and to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like having thickets. You got thickets, so you got big deer where they can hide.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't ever see the big deer.
Great point, because they're in there hiding.
So you're not going to make it a destination because 95% of the people that want to come fish are not outstanding anglers. They're just fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they go to the lake and they say, "Ooh, I can't fish here." Yeah, it's full of 10-pounders.
Yeah.
But you're not going to catch them because you're not going to fight the moss.
So you think the slot is irrelevant?
No, I didn't say that. I mean,
What would you do with the slot?
That's where I would go.
you know,
14-inch minimum
and
would
this
be my
this
choice.
is probably where Johnny Geist would probably like to put me in a headlock. You can't argue a point. Nothing works forever.
Right.
Nothing works forever. I still think that if you looked at the big picture on Lake Fork, maybe the slot needs to be altered.
Yeah.
You know,
Rotated through every 2 or 3
one
years.
way, and I don't know the answer to that. I
Yeah.
mean, which way, but it only works for so long, and then you start getting stalemated.
Mm-hmm.
They're not catching the 12, 13, 14-pound fish on fork that they did years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to take some of your fish out of the lake. Harvesting is part of conservation.
Amen.
And I bet there's not 2% of the fish caught on Lake Fork taken out.
Right.
I'd like to see, I said it before, I'd
On
like
Caddo.
to see a 16-inch minimum.
16-inch
Go to
minimum.
16-inch minimum for a while.
Yeah.
And like it's like any wildlife fishery biologist will say.
Now, back to what I want. Any change like that is going to kill the tournament fishing. You're not going to want to go fish a lake with a 16-inch minimum in a tournament.
There's a
You're
lot.
not
There's a
gonna-
lot of 16 inches in Caddo though.
You're not going to want to do that.
Well, I'd rather do that than probably fish the slot. You would?
How often do you think anglers are chased away by the slot?
A lot. The major circuits are chased away. By
Yeah,
the
the
slot.
circuits are right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of
Let's go fishing.
I don't have an answer to what I do to Caddo Lake. I love it right now.
Amen.
Yeah, proof's
Let's
in the
go
pudding
fishing,
there.
boys.
All right. Here's this week's final word. With Mother's Day coming up this Sunday, take the time to honor her and make her feel special. Mothers do so much for us without even a second thought. They wake you up. They wash your clothes. They cook your meals. They clean up your messes with not so much as a thank you. But better yet, they don't expect a thank you and do these things and so much more out of love. Moms are the driving force behind every child or a man's success. But one thing is for sure, none of us would even be here without her. So, take the time this Sunday to let your mom know how much she is loved and appreciated, because one day you will no longer be able to do that. Cherish those memories and cherish the time with her now. Folks, don't forget to tune us in this Saturday morning from 6 till 8 right here on AM 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down.